Get a minute of your time. Get a minute of your. Hush, you gotta live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time. Part of the creation, the relations I've got, the only one that keeps me safe, the only one you should trust. For sure, it ain't right that I have checked the speck of dust from all of its sides. Fall down, that from my height, cause I didn't see the plank I have in my eye. In yourself.
Hey, what is up, beautiful people?
I feel like I can't breathe. So good to have you guys here with us. We are excited to be back live.
Yeah,
we've always been live.
We've always been live,
but we waited a week and we're back, so I'm excited.
Honestly, I don't know what you had this morning, but it was not legal.
No, okay. To be honest, I am struggling a little bit to breathe, but it's because I'm conscious about breathing right now that I'm like, do I have enough air?
Are you serious?
Yeah. Okay, I'm good.
Hang on.
I'm feeling a little short of breath.
Hang on. Go back.
About what?
No. Hang on one second.
I'm self-conscious about breathing.
Yeah.
That's not self-conscious. I'm conscious. Like I'm like, am I taking full, like, because you know what?
No,
you
I don't know
breathe
what.
Okay. When you breathe, do you think about breathing, or it just happens, right?
Of course.
But then when you become conscious about it, then you start like breathing weird.
That is not a thing.
Yeah, that is a thing.
That is not
100%.
So you're telling me that hang on one second. So let me just understand this correctly.
Okay.
You don't think about breathing, but the minute you start thinking about breathing,
Then
you
I feel
stop
like
breathing.
I can't breathe. I'm gasping for air when I'm thinking about it. So is you, right?
That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my
We
entire
all have
life.
our quirks.
That's not a cork. That's definitely not a cork. Let me bring up the chat here.
All right, so we're super excited to be here today. Not bad, but to be
Are you
here.
gonna do the intro or what?
Go.
Okay, can you pass me the
What?
the cloth?
Cloth. There's a cloth.
Dude, the cloth.
What cloth?
The wipe, man. The cloth. No, is that that's paper.
Where? I don't understand.
The
what
green
cloth.
thing right there.
Oh shoot! I thought that was not a cloth. Like I had no idea what that was.
So are you gonna do the intro or what?
I can't breathe, so you go ahead. I can't think straight.
Welcome back to our podcast, Vision to Success, hosted by Miguel Martinez and my business partner.
Your partner, please include business.
Can I tell you? So I did a bunch of workshops last week. Like I was very, very busy, and so I did I was in Wellington and Guelph. Anyways, I was all over Ontario.
Traveling all over.
Yeah, I was traveling all over. Right, it was a busy week for me last week, so I was all over Ontario, and I kept talking about you. Right. I'm like, yeah, me and my partner, we have this podcast, because at the end of the presentation, I promote the podcast. Right. And so I'm like, yeah, me and my partner, we're going to, And then, and then one lady's like, oh, what is your partner doing in the business? I'm like, well, she really focuses on women empowerment on the side. And we focus on content creation and downloadables and worksheets and things like that. And she goes, you should get your wife to come down and do a presentation for us.
You're like,
I'm like, my wife, she has nothing, like, you will never catch her, like, dead anywhere, like, talking public speaking. I'm like, my wife? She goes, yeah, your wife. I'm like, you know my wife?
you full out had a conversation.
I literally, in the middle of the workshop, me and this lady are having this conversation. And I'm like, you know my wife? She goes, yeah, your wife, your business partner. I'm like, no.
You're like,
So now every time so towards the end of the week,
yeah,
and I'm like, so my business partner and I have because everybody thinks that when I say partner, I mean like a life partner.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how they asked you, like, oh, what do they do, just in case, male or female, and then after they're like, oh, it's your wife. Or
yeah. You should invite your wife to do a presentation. Like,
you're like, Tegan would be like,
why?
No.
Tegan would shoot that down quicker than quick. So
I always remember when we asked her to do podcasts with us because she's so good at so many different things, right?
In the beginning, she's excited because she sees our podcast and she loves it. And then she's like, yeah, let me do it.
And really, because every time I've asked her, she's like wide-eyed and she's like,
No, she has. So when I've spoken to her about it, so her big forte is Mike. It's the same thing with Mike. Organizational skills,
100%.
planning, and again, right? And so when I told her that the day that we were supposed to have Mike, that was the day that we were supposed to have Tegan.
Yeah. We should have Mike and Tegan.
She will never.
No?
She will
Maybe we'll
never.
Okay, by the end of the year, let's make it a goal for her. You can't really make goals for other people, but here we are. We're like, let's make it.
That's not how it works. You know that, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you won't catch her alive just doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, even when I record or whatever, I was doing she was here working, and I was here filming a video for a school. So the camera's on me. I'm like, hey, you want to say hi to Tegan? And she goes, shut that thing down right now. And I'm like,
all right, I guess I'll be editing that part.
she hates it. She hates anything that has to do with camera.
Yeah.
So how was your week?
It was good. It was busy. We had a full out snow day. So for me, when there's no school buses, I keep my kids home.
Yeah, we do the same.
Yeah, so I'm like, so we did that on Thursday, and yeah, it's been busy. It's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really good. What about you?
No, same thing. On when do we have the storm? Wednesday?
Wednesday into Thursday. But then Thursday they canceled the buses, and by Thursday, like midday, it was sunshine and like clear
everything
skies.
had melted. No, I know.
Yeah.
So the when was which night? Wednesday night or Thursday night?
Wednesday.
So Wednesday night. So Thursday morning was the banks of snow. Right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So Thursday, I've been going to the gym with Josh, right? And Josh is like, "Hey, are we meeting up on Thursday?" And I'm like, "Yeah." and
A hesitant yes.
it was a very hesitant yes. And then I'm like, when I went to bed, I'm like, dude, I'm not waking up at 2 a.m. to clear the driveway. I'm like, I can be dedicated and all that stuff, but I'm like, I'm not about shoveling snow at 2 a.m. And so I'm like, I just canceled.
Yeah.
So I didn't go. So I went in the afternoon.
Yeah, because I'm like, it was quite a bit of snow. Mike was out there 2 hours. He was.
So it was me, the 2 boys, and my father-in-law out there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took Mike 2 hours, so I'm guessing it took you guys consider a little bit less because there was many of you.
Yeah, but we help out the neighborhood as well.
Okay.
So Seth will do our neighbors.
Okay.
She's like an older single lady that just lives there. Her husband passed away a couple of years ago, and so we'll do that driveway. So we'll do the walkway is like the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Going into her house and then past her house to the next house. So yeah, and then there's 3 cars that we have to take the snow off.
Yeah.
And we live in a corner lot. So when that machine comes around, it just drops everything on our end.
Yeah.
So we have to like make space for the Jeep and all that.
Yeah.
It was chaotic. But I have a question for you.
Okay. What?
Are you ready?
I feel like I'm parched now.
So you can't breathe and you can't drink. Your body's just shutting down right now.
I don't know.
Breathe. Think about breathing.
I don't feel there's not enough air here.
Are you serious? Dude, this has to be a medical condition.
Anyway, ask me the question.
Okay, so I saw this question. I'm like, I have to ask Maria. What part, and for all those who are listening as well, maybe you want to chime in. What part of your life experience would you alter if you could have the chance to do it?
When my teen years, like when I was 12 to 16, I would.
12 to 16.
Yeah. And the reason why I say that, I've told you before, I was extremely painfully shy, right? I feel like if I would have been confident enough myself, I would have been able to form better relationships and closer relationships because I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have a lot of relationships. I felt very lonely.
Okay.
So I think if I could alter something, it would be that.
Okay.
But then I think about it, but then I'm like, then I wouldn't have the appreciation that I do have now and the contrast. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So what is it?
Would I do it?
Yeah.
Is the question, would I do it or what would I do?
Hey,
Vanessa. Hey, Josh.
What's up, Josh?
Hey, guys. Stoked on where I'm at. Where are you? Where are you?
Yeah, where are you, dude?
Now we're like,
This is dangerous.
oh, maybe he means like he's stoked for being here.
That or he's on the toilet.
He's not you.
I get so excited when I'm in the back. You know what?
Okay, side story. One time, Miguel and like Mike and another friend of ours, Jason, went out for Jason's birthday.
Yeah.
And you guys had eaten like a crazy amount of food.
Yeah.
And then you barely made it home.
Yeah.
And you sent Jason and Mike a picture of you on the toilet.
That never happened.
It was a picture of your feet.
Oh yeah, it was. I'm
Like,
It was okay. Hang on one second.
I like how you're like, that never happened. I'm like, actually, sir, it did.
Okay, of my feet, that doesn't count. When you say I send a picture of my toilet, like me say, like I'm thinking pants down, yeah, selfie, looking up, you know, dude, that is not a.
So, Josh, this is the type of friend that you have, just to make you aware.
It was of my feet. It was of my feet. Let's get it clear. Oh, don't be going around starting rumors here, dude. It was of my feet. But yes, we ate so much.
Yeah.
Like we went to where were we? Oh, we went to the gun range.
Yeah, and then you guys went out to eat after.
Then we went to
but-
an all you can eat.
And then, yeah.
But I was knocked out. Like I was in the back seat and
Like the sweats and everything.
oh yeah.
If you, and you know when Miguel is like done, like you see the beads of sweat, like, you know, you're in trouble. So please don't be close to him when that look is there.
You're starting like the worst rumors alive. Like that.
I'm just teasing. Okay, so it says here, Josh says that he wouldn't change anything in his life.
So Josh says he wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you think? Would you change anything?
Nothing. So there are, and see, this is the thing, right? In the
But see, this is the thing. You asked me a trick question because you said, "What would you change?"
yeah.
You're like nothing.
So you're blaming me now for the,
Absolutely. You made me answer wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's it's there are certain parts of my life that have been painful, that have been regretful, painful. Crap, I can't believe I did that kind of stuff. And I've managed, because I had good mentors. Mm-hmm. I've managed to make those challenges or hurdles or pitfalls to turn them into lessons. Right? Like we're watching The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
With your 3-year-old, right?
yeah, with my 3-year-old. Is there any other?
Is there any other way?
Yeah. Did I tell you when we're trying to cover his eyes and he's like pushing it away? Like, this is the good part. It's like, what are you talking about? And the zombie's like, no. He doesn't watch it. But so there's a storyline. Maggie goes on a mission with a whole bunch of people, like 12, 15 of them kind of thing. And half of the party dies.
Okay.
Right? Like something happens, whatever. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, whatever. But half of the party dies.
Okay.
And so then they come to a part in the road where she has to make a decision to keep going on to do the mission, to go get more food, or cut their losses and go back. And so somebody that's still alive in the party says, if we quit now, everything that we did will have gone to waste.
Yeah.
Right? Like all those lives, you know, all those 10 people that died, like it would have been for nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And so the only option is to go forward. And so I feel that when something bad happens to you, that you have a decision to make. You can either be like, it happened and it sucks or whatever, or you can dwell on it and then that becomes you. But then I've had, and like I said, I was saying before, I have had really good mentors that have said, don't waste these learning opportunities.
Yeah.
Turn them into lessons and teach those lessons. And here's the thing is, those lessons are not to change people. those lessons are to guide people so that when they make those mistakes, they know that there are options out there for them.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. And so sometimes we get into these positions of leadership and mentoring and stuff like that, and we think that what we're doing is we're trying to create their perfect lives, and it's not. What we're trying to do is show them that when those things happen, they have options and that they're not alone, and then this is how they would tackle them, and this is a way out of those pitfalls and things like that. But
I totally agree, especially when it comes to like parenting or mentoring youth. You need to share the hard.
Oh,
so
100%.
one, they know that they're resilient and other people like it has happened to them. But
Yeah.
second, they learn those lessons of being like, okay, this happened to me, this happened so-and-so. They were able to get through. Okay, let's do it kind of
yeah,
thing.
100%. What did
Yeah.
Vanessa say there?
There are a few points I think I would change truthfully. It's mainly being courageous enough to do some things earlier, like saving money earlier, those sorts of things. Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely okay. So that would be something. Yeah, but even that. But yeah, I can see that.
It does. Like I totally agree because I can. One of the I think one of the mindset hurdles that are hard to overcome sometimes is feeling like it's too late, especially when it comes to money.
Yeah,
I remember
to investing.
I remember having a meeting with our financial advisor, and here I was. I'm in my late 30s. I went in and we went into this meeting with him, and I'm like, I'm feeling overwhelmed because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's too late. Like they say, invest in your 20s, and I'm thinking all this stuff in my head. And then we went into the meeting, and he's like, listen, guys, he's like, you are so young. You have so much life ahead of you. It's never too late. It's just that these strategies change. So anyway, like, I think one of the things that we need to overcome as people is having that feeling. What are you doing?
Keep talking. Am I interrupting you?
Yes.
I'm not interrupting you. I'm listening to what. Yeah, and then what happened?
Anyway, it's just overcoming the feelings that it's too late. In reality, it's never too late. Your strategies may change, the way you do it may change,
Yeah.
but essentially you could potentially still achieve the things that you want.
Yeah. Like when I grew up, I didn't grow up with parents who taught me to invest.
Yeah,
I grew
it's
up-
a different mindset. Same
It
thing
is.
for us, right?
Yeah.
Like my parents didn't have that. I think it's more of a mindset that is built here as opposed to where we came from, Ecuador.
Yeah.
There, it's more like
You live paycheck to paycheck.
Exactly. That's the lifestyle, right? You just make
Yeah.
sure that you have enough for now because I remember living in Ecuador, we were buying food daily.
Yeah.
It wasn't like big grocery trips. You make what you make and then you pay what like you pay that day.
Yeah. So I didn't grow up with investing. I grew up with saving,
Yeah.
which is different.
Yeah.
So investing is you take your money and you put it into a portfolio or something, whatever, and you allow the money to work for you, right?
Yeah.
Saving is just putting your pennies underneath, or putting your $5 bills, dollar bills underneath the mattress, right? So my parents, because we were somewhat well off, right? We had property, we had land in the back, and we had renter properties in the back and stuff like that. So my dad always taught me to save all your pennies, whatever, and then in a rainy day, you'll have something there. So that lesson I learned. But investing, that's something that I learned until maybe 12, 15 years ago.
Shoot, I learned that lesson when I was 35. So I learned that
Yeah,
lesson
so
4
same.
years ago.
So I'm 44.
Okay, so like 9 years ago.
30, 35
Yeah.
years old. That's when I started learning about how to work money and putting money towards, all that other, like allowing it to work for you, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, so it's funny enough. So, so you wouldn't change anything?
No, because of all the hardship that I've gone through and all the good times, that's the reason why I have perspective on certain things, and that's the reason why I am the way that I am.
So here's a part 2 to this question.
Okay.
So if you can go back and teach your younger, during that hard time, you said between the ages of what?
Well, the hardest part were between the ages of 12 to 16.
So 12 to 16.
Yeah,
So
I would
if
say.
you can go back now, Maria, you're what, 48, 49?
Absolutely. I look so good for 40. That Botox is working, right?
Well, no, that side of the hair is just, honestly, dude.
Stop looking at it. You don't need to look at it. I don't know what he's talking
There's a
about.
bald spot right there.
Really? Where?
Oh, you know what it is?
Like, I don't have a bald spot.
It's not a bald spot. It's when you grab your hair and you're putting it up here.
Oh, okay.
And so there's like that spot right there. And it's staring at me right now.
Good. It's saying hello. Anyway, what were you saying?
So if you, Maria, whatever age you are, can go back to that age group of 12 to 16, what would you say?
To myself?
To yourself. Knowing everything that you've learned now and all the life experience that you've acquired and everything, what would you say?
That it's going to be okay. I don't think I would change it. I don't think I was ready at that age to absorb the knowledge that I needed in order to change. So I would just tell myself, or I would tell a smaller version of me, that it's going to be okay, that you're going to grow, you're going to blossom into into the person who you really are. And these are just learning years.
So hang on one second. I'm going to challenge that.
Okay.
I'm going to challenge it.
Yeah.
The 12, 16-year-old listening to that advice, not knowing it's you in the future, would that 12, 16-year-old listen to that advice? So here's my question for you.
I would tell them it's me. Hey, it's me.
No, you can't tell them that it's
100%
you.
I would tell her.
No.
I can't tell her it's me?
No, you can't tell them it's you. You know why? Have you seen the movie with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
When he goes back to the future?
Yeah.
And then the little and he's like, "Oh, dude, I'm big." It's like, "Do I get any in the future?" Right? Like,
Yeah.
do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not living by faith anymore. If a younger you sees what you're going to become, this wonderful person, then you're taking away that whole faith, living by faith. If God was to show up right now, right? If Jesus Christ was to show up right now and be like, "This is who I am," you would stop living by faith and you would start living by knowledge, knowing that he lives. So you can't tell.
Yeah, I can't tell them it's me.
And show them what you've become, like this wonderful person with a phenomenal husband and a great partner.
Business part.
Business partner. Yeah, we gotta emphasize that, right?
It's just because people seem to think that we're married.
Everywhere we go, we gotta shut that down.
So we're like, no, we're not married. Okay. Well, this is the thing. I think at that point, if I couldn't tell the person, I'd be like, hey, I know this sucks. I know you have no friends. This sucks. I know how you feel. I know it sucks.
And 12-year-old will listen.
Probably. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Maria Esban's husband is, he is pretty cool. But yeah, I guess at that point, you know what? All I could do, because I don't know if 12-year-old me would listen to be like, hey, you know what? Just be yourself. What kind of advice is that? People usually are like, be yourself. And you're like, what does that even mean?
You hear that all the time.
Exactly. So maybe the things that I could do is actually be like, hey, pick something that you like and work towards that. Let's build your confidence towards a skill. And then maybe my confidence would have built a little bit more. Maybe I would have gotten to know more people, right? So maybe I would have expanded my views as far as encouraging younger me to do things a little bit different, but not pushing to a place where being like, hey, just go say hi to that person, because I wasn't at that place.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think the only thing that I could do with younger self of me is to tell her I know how much it sucks, to be like, hey, these are small things that can help you to feel better. So do them and you will feel better. And then just tell her that it's going to be, that when you grow up, it's going to be better. It's so hard. So kind of talking about the younger version of me, this is a little bit kind of like it, but a little bit different, I guess. I have a daughter, right? Raquel. She's 11 years old. Raquel is shy, okay? Me at her age, I was shy. But this is the thing with Raquel. Raquel has a quiet confidence to her. She is A-okay sitting on her own. I'm the one that suffers seeing her sitting by herself. I'm like, my baby. Oh my gosh.
Fast Friday. I was like,
I know.
Where is she? Who's she talking to?
I know, seriously. But you know why that happens? Because I parent her from my own autobiography. And
Right.
so I've had to self-assess, and I've had to be like, okay, is this truly an issue, or is this what I think based on my childhood? Of how I was, right? Because I was having this conversation with Mike, and he's like, I think when you were young, he's like, the reason why it was so lonely for you is because you're an extrovert. You get energy from being with people. Like, you never see me, like, if I'm out and about and I'm talking to a whole bunch of people, I don't come home and, like, rejuvenate. I come home and I'm like, oh my gosh, guess what? Guess who I met? And this person's Mike is like, is she still talking? Poor Mike. I love you.
He goes upstairs. You come down. He comes down, and you're still talking. It's like,
I'm like telling him all about like perfect example on Friday. My son had a procedure. I met the dentist. And I'm telling him the whole life story of the dentist and how like I told her we should be friends. And she's like, let's go out for coffee. And I'm like, done. 100%
you're that person.
of that person.
Gosh.
But see, this is why I struggled when I was 11, right? Because I was like, an extrovert, I guess, and I didn't know it. And so not being around people hurt me. As opposed to Raquel is naturally energized being at home. She's the kind of person that goes out, comes home, but she needs her time to read. She needs her time to recuperate. Then she's with her family, her siblings, and she like blossoms, right?
Yeah.
So it's been a learning curve to learn how to parent her based on her needs and not based on the needs that I think she needs based on my own childhood.
Okay.
Anyway, that was a big one.
And one of the biggest reasons why I asked you that is because that seems to be one of the biggest one of the biggest challenges the parents are having right now is how do I counsel my child? How do I talk to them? Right? And this is the biggest thing. Parents need to realize that you need to put yourself in their positions. Number one, right? What would you want to have been told?
Yeah.
Right? And how? And it's not, and so the what is important, but the how is just as important. And so if we're telling the kid general advice, it's going to be okay, you're going to get through this and all these different things. For some, it might work. But 99.9% of these kids out there right now, they want something more tangible.
Yeah.
Right? They want something, well, what can I do to get better? And I mean, in the perfect example, if you take a look at a football, basketball coach, like I used to coach T-ball, baseball. And there's a big difference when you tell a kid, okay, don't worry, eventually you're going to hit it, and trying to give them that motivation and that hope. And for some, it's going to work versus that kid that's not hitting any ball, and they don't know when that is. And so with that child, you work with that child. You give them a little bit of tools, a little bit of tips, a little bit of tricks, and be like, okay, stand like this and stand like that. And you walk with that child until they hit that ball. And when they hit that ball, I'm like, see, I told you eventually you were going to hit that ball.
Yeah.
So motivation is not.
It's not hurrah, hey, you got this.
It can be all motivation, right?
Yeah.
There has to be
the how-tos.
There needs to be a how-to, right? This is how you do it. So for a kid that's struggling talking to people, right? Oh, it's going to be okay. You're going to make friends in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
It's not enough, right?
Yeah. Kids don't have perspective. They need your perspective.
Exactly. So you need to be like, well, have you tried talking to somebody?
Yeah.
Why don't you bring a toy, like a Beyblade or whatever, and and start battling with their friends. Now you're giving them the tools and how to do it. And then they try it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I was battling Beyblades with 3 other kids or whatever. We had a blast.
You
like,
find
awesome.
a commonality, right?
Right.
You help them to try to find a commonality.
Right. So going back to your past self and talking to them and just giving them that motivation, listen, it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. It's not enough.
Yeah, that's probably why I wouldn't listen.
If you're anything, oh my gosh. If your 12-year-old is anything like how you are now.
Oh, no, I was not. I was so painfully shy. I don't know if I would have listened, though.
What changed? Like from the story, like I didn't know you at 12 years old, but from the stories that you tell me, like you're afraid of your own shadow.
100%.
Now, though, you're best friends with your shadow.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
I'm like, hey, girl, we got this.
So annoying. Like, so freaking annoying.
It took years.
But what was there a pinnacle moment?
Yeah, it was after I had Joey. It took me 3 kids in, so I didn't start developing.
I know you have 3 kids. I just don't know the names.
I have
or
4.
Order.
I have 4 kids.
I wanted to make sure that you knew. So I knew you have 4 kids. I just don't know the numerically.
Okay, so Joey's my 3rd kid.
The
right?
3rd kid.
So I struggled.
And Raquel's the last one.
She's the first one.
She's the first one.
Okay, so I have 4. I have an 11 turning 12. I have a almost 10-year-old. I have an 8-year-old, and I have a 6-year-old. So I have 4 kids.
The girl, right? The last one's a girl.
Yeah. So 2 girls, 2 boys. Boys are in between.
Right. Girl, boy, girl.
Yes.
Yeah. And the girl, the youngest girl, what's her name again?
Ruby.
Yeah, Ruby. Spitting image.
Of who?
Of Mike.
Mike? Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like that kid you cannot deny that kid. I look at Ruby. I'm like, that is grossly, disgustingly, so not in a bad way, but that is just.
That's like the spitting image of Mike.
Freaky how much they look alike. Even when she looks at me.
You know what I love about her too is that she's all Mike on the outside, but she's all me on the inside. Like me, like now. like how I am now, not me when I was young.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so she's very fiery.
Okay.
He 100% is.
I am. What do you mean I'm on a? I'm not on.
He never knows your kids' names. He never knows how many kids. And granted, how long have we known each other?
Do you know why though? And there's a reason why.
Okay, tell me.
No, I'm being serious, and I'm being very, very serious. Scientifically speaking,
Okay, tell me. Please do tell.
I will.
Okay, tell me.
Scientifically speaking, I can only retain so much information. So if I start storing other kids' names in my head, I'm gonna forget my own.
Because I can't do that. You just gotta.
I already struggle when I'm trying to call them out.
Oh,
Hey, Ralph!
oh my gosh, it's been forever.
Holy buddy, how are you, man?
Good
Welcome to
see
the
you
show.
here.
But yeah, if I start putting information in there,
You're like, your kids' names are gonna come out.
it's either my kids' names or just like ward council people, like something else is gonna pop out, and so I have to be. There's only so much real estate that I have in my head that I have to be careful what I store in there.
Okay.
So that's my, and scientifically that's explainable.
Sure. If you say so, that absolutely.
So.
What were we talking about?
So when was that turning point that you went from like afraid of your own shadow to like, look at me?
Look at me. It's been a journey. So I would say the journey is about 8 years. March 15th will be 8 years since I've been on this journey. It didn't happen right away. It started with fitness.
Okay.
Right? So it started after I was
No, but what was your turning point? Not when. What was your turning point? Like when did you say it was like, I'm tired of being shy. I'm tired of being so introverted. I'm tired of being like this, and I need to talk to everybody and just annoy everybody that I meet.
I think honestly, it was a process. I can't tell you like an individual pinpoint. What I can tell you is that I have improved tremendously this past year. So
Okay.
I would say my biggest improvement has been this past year with 75 hard.
Oh yeah, I hate
So
that thing.
that, and then what I was
Mike hated that too.
100%, he hated it. But the last month that you do 75 hard is that you have to speak to someone who you don't know, hold a conversation, like speak to a stranger every day for 30 days. And I was terrified about doing that, right? Because I was like, oh my gosh, like.
Just randomly?
Yeah,
Like,
just
you
randomly.
you go to a grocery store and be like, hey, you bald man.
Yeah, but you know what I found? I found like some of the things that we were talking, there are certain things that you can do to talk to people, right? Like you find commonalities. One example was I was at Costco. I was looking at these boots. Another lady picked up the
You're looking at what?
at these boots.
Oh, boots.
Boots.
Boots. I'm like, why are you looking at boobs, dude?
Not boobs, boots.
Okay, I heard
I
boobs.
was looking at someone's boobs. And then we just started talking about them.
That's definitely
Anyway.
that's definitely a way to get conversation
Okay,
going.
so here, I'll give you the secrets about talking to strangers. These are the tactics that have worked for me, and I can continue getting to know people because of them. One, you find a commonality, right?
Okay.
Okay, even before that, actually, scratch that. The first thing you got to realize is that majority of people don't talk to each other because they're in their head. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with people not wanting to talk to you. I mean, that could be like a small, maybe like 5% of the time, but 95% of people are stuck in their head, right? They're stuck about, like, they're worried about,
Like, what do you mean stuck in their head?
well, they're worried about how they sound. They're worried about how they look. They're worried about, like, the issues and things that are going on in their life. They're not thinking about anybody else but themselves.
While grocery shopping, while going to the store.
100%, yeah, like everybody. And so people have a natural shy factor to them, right? Because
Okay.
it's hard opening up yourself to anyone. And you don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to be shut down.
Not Josh.
Oh, yeah, Josh is fine. I'm sure he's good.
Josh at the gym is so annoying. Talks to everybody.
That would be me, 100%. But that was for me a build skill. I didn't have that before.
Okay.
So anyway, so after you tell, like, you come to terms that that's the fact, or that, like, that does happen. Majority of people are stuck in their head. And so then after that, it becomes a whole lot easier because you go and you find a commonality. So for instance, I'd be on my walks in the morning, and then I'd find people and they have a dog. And that's a perfect time
Yeah.
to talk to them, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, hey, how are you? I love your dog. What kind of dog is that? So we have like a small like exchange, and then that'd be my person that I got to know that day. Another one is that this was my favorite because I combined both an act of kindness and getting to know somebody. I was at the dentist, right? And there was this mom, and she had like a little baby in a car seat, and then she had 2 other kids. They were quite young as well. And the kids are like all over the place, and she's struggling hardcore, right? And she's trying to leave. So I just went to her and I was like, hey, can I help you with the car seat and take it outside? And she's like, oh my gosh, please. So I took the car seat. She went outside. Kids went in. We like clipped in the car. And I was like, hey, I just want to tell you that I know what you're feeling. I have kids too. And you're probably doing better than you think. And I gave her a hug. And she's like, 100. Ask Mike, I hug people that I don't know all the time. And so then she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, have a good day, okay? Walked right back into the dentist. That's one of my favorite stories.
Oh, you probably just made her entire day.
Oh, I love it because I'm like, people, like we have our stuff that's going on. And when we feel overwhelmed, don't we want somebody just to smile at us or just have a short conversation or be seen?
But, okay, so what you did there, going up to a perfectly good stranger and hugging them, walking to... First of all, a guy couldn't do that.
No, probably not.
A guy, can I walk you to the car? No, I'm okay. No, let me walk you to the car.
And then I'll hug you after and tell you you're doing a good job.
Yeah, you're doing such a phenomenal job. Come here.
I know, but you gotta like.
So here's from that, you doing that to being painfully shy, that was not overnight.
No, it was a process. It took years. Like I'm telling you, 7 years.
Wow.
This is work. This is day in, day out. This is the mundane that people that often as human beings, we're like, oh, that's not going to work. What's 5 minutes of personal development going to do for my life? Nothing. Like, I don't see the change. That's what it did for my life.
Wow.
Seriously, 10 pages a day, 10 minutes of personal development a day helped me to overcome a lot of my barriers to be to a point where I can go up to a stranger and have a conversation with them and even be okay when the stranger doesn't want to have a conversation back and it's awkward and have a good laugh about it. 100%. So there's this one time.
Talk to me. Listen, lady, I don't know who you are. No, I want to get to know you. Please leave me alone.
Honestly, though, this was like, it was my bad too because we had taken the kids swimming. We were going back home and I'm like, dang, if I go back home, I'm like, I'm not going to talk to a single stranger. So I'm going to have to be like, roaming, like going outside and trying to find someone to talk to, right?
So weird.
Anyway, so then I was like, Mike, I'm like, just take the kids out. I'll be right back. I have to go talk to a stranger, right? So sure enough, I see. So in order to count for 75 hard, it can't just be like, oh, hey, that's not enough talking. There has to be an exchange of conversation, right? So I saw this mom. She had like this jacket that I really like. So that's a commonality. And I was like, oh, hi, right? And then I was like, I was like, oh, I love your jacket. But then she was like, oh, thanks. And kept walking. And I was like, oh, dang, like I need exchange in order for it to count.
Please come back.
Come back, sir.
I need to just say something else. I'm doing this 75-day hard thing and I need you to have a conversation with me.
I know. So I was like, do I just go and like say that that's my conversation? I was like, no, I know better. Right? So I was full out ready just to try it on someone else. But she came back. And I was like, and she's on the phone by this point, okay? So not my best, like getting to know a stranger. So I was like, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I just love your jacket so much. Where did you get your jacket? And she's like, oh, I got it at Joe's. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And your daughter has one too? And she's like, yeah. And then she like walked away. I was like, ching, ching, ching. 3 like questions. I was like, check.
That's the worst.
100% awkward. 100%. She was probably like, can you stop talking to me? I have my child. I'm on my phone. I'm busy. She was busy. It wasn't my
911. I got this crazy lady chasing me.
100%, right? Because I'm like, but after that, I wasn't in my head and being like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? I was like, I laughed and I was like, okay, not my greatest like moment, clearly. But I'm like, but I did my best. It got done, and now I can go home. So that's the difference. I'm no longer in my head.
What time? What time was it?
It was like 6 p.m. It's totally
totally daytime.
I
thought you were like out of midnight going around looking for people to talk to.
I have gone outside for a walk because part of it I had to do a workout outside, right? So this one time it was like 9:30 p.m. and I'm like, dang it. It's a whole lot different talking to people during the day than at night because people are like cautious, like, why are you talking to me? There's not a lot of lights and I'm like walking around. I mean, I do have what's going for me that I'm female, so it's not as threatening as being a guy and trying to talk to people, right?
Yeah.
So I got to a point where there's a restaurant by my house, and I'm like roaming around the restaurant. And I'm like, if I don't run into anybody, I'm going to have to go into the restaurant, ask a random question, and then come out, right? That's how serious I am about my 75 hard. So anyway, thankfully, there was a guy like standing outside smoking, and I was like, oh, hey, da, 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 da. And he like said
I
a couple
love
of
those
things.
cigarettes. Where'd you get them from? Oh my
Tell
God.
me, how long have you been smoking? No, I didn't say that. But I had like a very short, awkward conversation. It was really cool that day. And I was like, that is my best today. And I am counting that as like a conversation.
That is hilarious. Yeah, Mike was not impressed with that 75 hard thing.
No, he was stressed out.
Mostly because of the diet. Because
Well,
it constrained him too, right?
Well, no, he's a great husband. So he always ensures that wherever we go, I can eat something. And the whole thing was like, I couldn't eat sugars, or I couldn't have a cheat meal per se.
Yeah.
And so he would always be like checking out the menus just to make sure that I could eat something. He's a great husband. I know after he's like, I'm so glad you're done.
Are you doing anything ridiculous like that?
Yeah, when I'm 39, so I'm turning 39 this year, I'm going to start the program again so I can hit the full year by my 40th. I have a big, ginormous party for my 40th to celebrate. That's like half of my life that I've gained all these knowledge that I just want to celebrate. I'm excited for my next half. Like it's going to be so much better. So that's what I'm doing. And yeah.
So, and the reason why I asked you, I guess, how long it took you to get to this point here is because, like, today's topic is patience, right?
Oh yeah. Patience.
But it's interesting, like, how all of this fits as well, because people ask me, and so today, it's funny enough. So so our mothers are on a date right now.
Yes, they've gone out
Yeah.
to hang out.
To go look for a new dad for me. So
He's like full out, right? He drops off his mom, and I'm dropping off my mom too. And then he's like, Mom, please find me a new daddy. But in Spanish. It's like,
my mom's like, shut up. You don't know who's listening. You don't know who's listening. My mom's so embarrassed. I embarrass my mom all the time. I love her.
oh my gosh.
So our parents, so Marie and I, we click. It's like so ridiculous because our lives are very
Parallel.
almost carbon copy, right?
Yeah.
And so both of our dads
dads.
passed away, right? And so we have these widow moms.
But it's been amazing that our moms get along.
Yeah.
Right? And that they actually like spending time together.
They look for each other at church.
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
so
they look for each
glad.
other. So my mom had this inkling. My mom knew that Maria was coming over to do the podcast, and so she's like, "Oh, invite Maria's mom so we can go for a walk." And I'm like, "But it's freezing outside. It's snowing. There's like the ice hasn't melted." And she's like, "Okay." She's like so disappointed, and then she calls me and she goes, "Well, maybe you can drop us off at McDonald's, and then we can just have McDonald's." And I'm like, "Okay, Mom." Honestly, it's taking care of another child.
No,
right?
don't say that. No.
Not that I mind. I don't mind taking care of my kids, but taking care of my mom is like literally taking care of another child. Like,
Well, it's because it does. There is this component where
It's
your
a-
availability needs to also be involve your mom, right?
it's another dependent.
But but it's not a child. Though. It's completely different than a child.
She acts like a child
No,
sometimes.
she does not. Oh my gosh.
We wrestle all the time. She sucker punches me. Anyways, too much about my mom. But anyways, no, but yeah. So okay, she doesn't act like a child, but the effort that I put in raising a child and making sure that they go somewhere, that they have enough to eat, that they have the funds and all. It's the same thing with my mom. Like I'm taking care of her, right? Financially, I'm taking care of her like emotionally and just, roof over her head and all that, which I don't mind.
Well, you love it actually.
I honestly love it because and without getting emotional,
I see a tear.
get back in. Unacceptable, right? No, because she did that for me
Yeah.
growing up. And there was no buts, if, qualms, or quarrels. Like it was naturally. I needed money, she gave me money. I needed a ride, my dad would take me anywhere. Living in Scarborough, we would go to Etobicoke sometimes just to pick up something that I needed for school. Like there was never any questions like, let's provide for Miguel. So the fact that I can do it back to my mom and take care of her till my dying day, I will always do it. So again, no problems. So as I'm dropping my mom off to go meet your mom at McDonald's, Seth is outside shoveling snow for our neighbor. and another person walks by and goes, "Hey, hello, how are you, son? How are you?" He's like, "Amazing."
He's like a carbon copy of you too.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, and so, but then it's interesting because when people ask me how you're doing, it's just natural. I am amazing. I woke up today, and why wouldn't I be amazing, right? And so that's my go-to answer. I'm doing amazing. I'm doing phenomenal, which is absolutely great. I was not always like this,
Yeah.
right? And so I asked you how long it took you because same thing with me. Like when I first started, I was like, I knew what I wanted to be like, and but I was in grade 7, 8, 9. I was like that kid that got bullied, and I wanted to be confident in my speech. I wanted to be confident in how I projected myself, and it took a long time for me to just find the goodness of life and just be happy with what I have.
I do like you've shared it with me before that what you did is you studied at Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
Fresh
right?
Prince of Bel-Air, yeah.
But I actually love that because you took it upon yourself to be like, okay, let me see what he does that I
Yeah.
can incorporate to be me. And it worked for you because you have a very similar personality.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is really hot.
Oh, I am sweating over here, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want you to start crying. So we have like the heater going 24/7 because of her. I have to get a second mortgage just to pay for the electrical bill. But yeah, I would come home. Literally, I would spend hours. I would record the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air videos.
Yeah.
And I would just watch them on repeat over and over and over again. And I would just study Will Smith and how he was, his persona, how he would talk to his manner, just everything, his speech, everything. And I would just try and copy, or just not be a carbon copy of him, but just have that confidence and figure out if the confidence came from speech, actions, or just mentality, right? Or even his surroundings. I would study